So hello everyone, welcome to our third video on Node.js. In this video, we'll be talking about MongoDB and how you can use in conjunction with Express and Node.js to create a simple web application. So the very first thing you have to do is just go to a browser and search for MongoDB download and just open up the MongoDB community server download section over here. And yeah, you can download the latest version. Let's download it. I'll skip to the part where the download is completed. So once we have our MongoDB community edition downloaded, we'll just double click on the setup to install it. Let's click on next, accept the terms and agreement. Let's go for the complete one, and I'll leave everything at its default because it will set up everything for me. Let's go next, and I'll uncheck this option to install MongoDB Compass because I'll install this tool separately, as this thing takes a lot of time to install after the server is installed. So I'll just click on install. By the time it is installing, I'll go to the address bar and change this last community route to Compass, and we'll download the Compass separately over here. You can see Compass written over here, and we'll just download the latest table. We click on download and let's see what the setup. Okay, it has completed, so I'll click on finish. Let's wait for it to complete too. Now once we have our Compass downloaded, I'll just double click to install it. It will launch automatic when the installer is completed. Okay, so it's launching. So once you got your Compass launched, you can directly click on connect, because once the MongoDB server is installed, it will set up and start the server on its own in Windows. So I'll just click on connect, and you can see we have our database connected, and you can see various databases over here. So I'll create a new database for our project. We'll say Node.js project, and we have to give one collection name. So I'll give it as users, something like that. We'll click on create, and we got our database created, and we have a collection called users. So once we have both the things installed, that is MongoDB server and Compass, we'll proceed with the how we can use it in Node.js. So for that, we need to install a module called MongoDB. So I'll go to the terminal and I'll write npm I MongoDB, simple as that, and hit enter. Wait for the package to get installed. So once the package is installed, then we'll go to our index.js. You can see this is the old last tutorials file. So we'll just modify this one. So for that, you just have to import the module of MongoDB. So I'll write const, and in curl braces, I'll call the function of Mongo client, and we'll give it equals require and say MongoDB, right? Then we have to make a connection URL for the MongoDB database that we have to connect. So we'll write const URL equals, and we need to get the URL of our database that is over here. So for that, we can just click on disconnect, and you can just copy this one, and in double quotes you can just enter this and slash node project node proj, that is our database name, and you make sure that you change this one to 127.0.0.1 or either 0.0.0.0, because I tried before also at localhost. If you write localhost over here, it doesn't work, it refuses the connection. I also tried changing the configuration of MongoDB, but somehow it doesn't work. So I'll just write 127.0.0.1. That's the alternative to localhost. So once we have our connection URL, I'll declare a variable called db. I'm gonna initiate it with any value, and I'll create a basic asynchronous function which will run once the script is running. So I'll just open up brackets and write async. So this is basically for connecting to our database inside try block, and I'll create a catch for this. I declare a constant client is equal to await Mongo client that we created the function above dot connect, and we'll pass the first parameter as the URL of the database and give a comma, and the second parameter will pass some options, that is one of which is use new URL parser to true. And also the server selection, we'll also put server selection timeout somewhere over here. Yeah, this one, server selection timeout ms as 2000, that if it doesn't get connected to server within 2000 seconds, it will throw a error back. By default, it takes more than 30 seconds to respond whether the server is working or not. So once we have created this one, we'll assign the value to db. That is, db is equal to client dot db with our database name, node project. So once we have done this, we'll write console.log connected to our database, and in the catch section, we'll write console.log. So some error occurred, something like that we'll put over here. And now let's run this one and see. Okay, hold on. One last thing. At the end of the async function, we need to call it too. So we'll just write it like this so that this function gets called once the script is running. So once we have got this one, we'll just run this and see what happens. Just click node dot over here. So it says server is running and connected to our database. That means we didn't got any errors over here. So what if I change the address to like something like this, where the database is not at all running? So let's see how it goes. So it will wait for 2 seconds and throw me error, some error occurred. So basically, when you get this message, it means you don't have connection to the database. So I'll fix it by Control Z, and let's run it again and see what happens. Okay, we get connected to our database. So once we have our connection, so we'll just create a basic application in the next video in which the user can input name and email. It will populate the database, and we can also view that list, and we can modify and delete data from the MongoDB database using our application. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys learned something new, and we'll hope to see you in the next one. Do hit that like and subscribe button, and thanks for watching.